Well, I'm
here.
linked. Yeah, I'm linked right now with my YouTube and X page, so we're good.
Oh, sweet. Let me figure out the camera I need to do this. Unless it's this. Nope. I need to swap these two. There we go. I wish I could edit this, Rick. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to make you considerably bigger. There we go. Boom. There we go. Now I can actually see your face.
Beautiful.
We'll actually make you, boom, make you even a little bit bigger. Might as well. Okay, now we can see everybody on the screen. It looks nicer. Now I can look at this stuff too, so I can actually pull up fantasy teams and see how badly some of my teams did.
Yeah, our league, you had a good week, and I did not.
Did I really? One of my leagues, I think it's my league with Isaac from Fun Football Pod, the guys that are coming on after this. I think that's the one where I really crapped the bed. I screwed up in one of my leagues so bad. I got just beat. Oh, yeah, I did win in our league.
I think I won in just about every league except for ours that we set up here. So,
oh, dude, yeah, it's tough. It's I have a few where I have 32 teams, and my 32 team roster had all three linebackers get hurt. So I was like, oh god, we're gonna get smoked. It was so bad. It was horrible.
And I tell you what, here's the one thing that I have as far as a takeaway from this first week. So, like I said, I had the same draft strategy.
Yeah.
Coming into the season, and it was I wanted to grab, depending on my position, it was odd enough that I always had number 5 or number 6. I was drafting 5 or 6 all year. So toward the end there, it's like, okay, cool. I know who's going to be there, and I know who to pick up. But in our draft, I went a little bit different direction, and I went running back, and then Lamar was still there. And so I took Lamar instead. So my running backs did great because I had Saquon, and, well, he did okay. And Chase Brown, who basically he put up 10 points in the first half and then 2 points for the rest of the game against Cleveland. But then I went Lamar, and obviously Lamar put up almost damn near 30 points.
Yep. But stupid night for him.
It weathered my wide receivers. Like, I don't know if I had and I went wide receiver. I think I went 4 wide receivers in a row after that, just because I wasn't sure. And none of them would have done anything. None of them hit double digits. So different draft strategy and a completely different outcome with a loss.
Yeah, dude, mine was the same thing. Like, a bunch of people clowned me for going after like Marvin Harrison Jr. here or Zay Flowers. Both of them put up solid points. I have Brian Thomas Jr. or look across the way to the other dude. 1.8 points for AJ Brown. Even if you drafted, quote unquote, well, some of these times, like, I was literally just getting beat because dudes just straight up didn't show up.
Yeah.
And speaking of, we got our first question. Would you trade Walker for DeAndre Swift? My answer is yes. If you are the Walker going to get Swift, go get Swift.
I would say yes, too, only because it does look like a running back by committee there, and Charbonnet seems to get the good end of that stick. So yep. I didn't draft either one of them, obviously, in any league that I was in this year, just because you've got Kenneth Walker, who obviously is injury prone. You knew that coming into this year. You knew that they were going to be splitting time, which is why Charbonnet's ADP was so high as well, because people were either trying to handcuff him. It's kind of like a Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery type of situation, where it's like, yeah, you'd like to handcuff him and you almost have to, but Charbonnet's ADP was so high that, good luck doing that. But yes, that Swift is the clear number 1 in Chicago. I absolutely 100% agree with you there. I would make that trade.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to get Swift and that guy's willing to make that trade right now. Like, Walker didn't even look good. He looked like that injury he sustained previously is going to continue. I would expect whoever the heck is behind him, whose name is escaping me, Charbonnet, and God, who's their running back 3 now? It was Rashad Penny. Can't even remember. Irrelevant right now, unless you're in a 32-man league. But yeah, it's just such an interesting year already, and we're in week of freaking 1.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say, week 1 is a liar.
Oh, if that's the case, man, your Ravens are going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I hope so. And here's a fascinating thing. We were just talking about the league that we're in, the Cognoscenti League here. I mentioned that I drafted Saquon and then Chase Brown and then Lamar Jackson. Then I got Terry McLaurin.
Yep.
And I posted something earlier on X. After Terry McLaurin, what he put up again, it was 2 receptions on 4 targets. Go look back. It's such an interesting stat. Go look up what Terry McLaurin has done the last 4 years in week 1. 2 receptions on 4 targets.
Really?
It's insane. Like 20 yards, 25 yards, somewhere in that realm. And he's done that now. Be careful too, because I swear to God, if I draft Terry McLaurin next year, I'm not starting week 1 just because it's a trend.
Agreed.
Week 2, he doesn't do much better. So I'm actually considering benching McLaurin. And it sounds just astoundingly stupid to do, but go look at his week 2 from the last 4 or 5 years. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, guy does not get going until week 3.
Especially because he just got paid $30 million.
Right.
Like, I need you to show up week 1, man.
Yeah. And I get that, he was the holdout, he wasn't practicing and all this kind of stuff, but it's been a trend with him. The last 5 years, he has not done well. Week 1, week 2, traditionally, 90% of the time, not good.
I normally don't take McLaurin. If I can avoid it, I do. But in one of my leagues, I got Jaden Daniels, so it was like, oh, this makes sense. But other than that, he was one of those guys that I just avoided. Oh, and by the way, in our league, I thought I won. I didn't. I got mopped. Matthew Golden gave me 2 points. Colston Loveland gave me 2 points. Billy only gave me 3. So, and I should have played a Mecca. I didn't. I played Trevion Henderson thinking the Patriots would run. Yeah. I was like, okay, Emeka's going to need 1 game. Just 1. They're going to play it. Nope. Of course. First game, 2 touchdowns. Of course.
Yeah. Because the next guy that I drafted after Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans. And he didn't do
much. That's one of the ones that I faded, Mike Evans, because I knew I was going so hard for Egbuka this year that I was like, I can't do both. Like, even in this league right here, in my matchup, I didn't even play Egbuka. He's on the bench. Like, I won with him and not even in the lineup. I can't. And then in our league, what do? I get destroyed. I get walked. It is just going to be crazy. So you guys are going up against the Browns this week.
Yeah.
They got back Quinshon Judkins. That's a good one for you guys.
Yeah, it sounds like he should be back at practice tomorrow is what I hear.
Okay.
So that should be interesting for Dylan Sampson fans. And obviously if you're looking at a fantasy standpoint here, I know that a lot of people are saying Dylan Sampson, pick up Dylan Sampson, and you might want to. He didn't do terrible. All things considered, but now he's going to have more competition that pops in. So that should be interesting at least. Dylan Sampson, he's only owned in about 45% of all fantasy leagues. 12 of 20 that got him the points that he did. He caught all 8 passes that were thrown to him. Thank you, Joe Flacco. 8 of 60 or 8 for 64. So caught all 8 passes. He's going to be a threat out of the backfield. So I think even when Judkins is there, I think they still use Sampson at least on third downs just because of his ability to catch out of the backfield. It's phenomenal.
I 100% agree, and especially if they make the move to Shedeur at any point, or to Dylan Gabriel for that matter, I think that Dylan Sampson gets a whole extra boost in this. So I don't think that his stock is completely out of the question. And speaking of, he said, cheers, would you target ETN or Swift? I'm not going to lie, probably ETN at this point.
Repeat that question one more time.
Would you rather somebody target ETN or Swift? The previous question was, would he trade Walker for Swift?
Yeah.
So essentially, would you trade Walker for ETN? I would.
Trade Walker for ETN?
Yeah.
I would get rid of Walker for ETN if that's the question.
Absolutely, especially their next few games. They beat my Panthers, of course. Bengals don't have a really crazy defense. Texans look like they've taken a little bit of a step back. Defense not too bad, but they're still going to be able to get run on pretty easily. 49ers, same thing. Brock Purdy out, all that.
Yeah,
Chiefs,
George Kittle out.
I mean, this is a pretty solid one. I mean, you got Cardinals, Colts, Titans twice. This is a pretty great, thing. Obviously, that division for Jacksonville, but yeah,
ETN's his stock just shot, right? His stock just shot up. Tank Bigsby gets traded to Philadelphia today, so now you got Tootin back there, right? He had 3 carries maybe. I would say if you're looking for a handcuff, he's your guy. He's only owned in probably 5% of all leagues at this point. He'd be another running back that you might want to target, especially if you have ETN. ETN also known for being injured. But yeah, he's the main guy. And whether it was he just looked really good and the offense for Jacksonville, the offensive line looked really good, or not to put a dig at you, Carolina's defense didn't look real great. So are you going to get the same kind of output from ETN going forward? Possibly. Again, week one will tell.
Yeah. If you compare it to the other options you're going to have, though, like Walker or Swift, I'm gonna give it to ETN. Just make sure it's the right ETN. Now that there's two in the league, don't be that guy that trades for Trevor Etienne.
Yeah, not Trevor. You want to go for Travis, not his, what is it, brother or cousin or
brother?
Brother. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one for sure. I do agree that the defense for Carolina didn't look the best, but to be honest, I think that them not needing to throw the ball as much and them just kind of relying on it. Like if you take out the 170-yard run, it really wasn't a crazy rushing night.
Yeah.
But it's the opportunity. Obviously now the tank is gone. Yeah, Beischel to the moon. It's going to be amazing. Him and the two of them together. And then to be honest, their three, LaQuint Allen, is fantastic as well. So he's not anybody to slouch on. So that's why I feel like they felt the need to get rid of Tank. It was like, man, let's just go get it. And now they have the 5, 6, and 7 all from Philly because they also traded Philly a tackle a week or so ago.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So obviously Howie Roseman is working the Jacksonville Jaguars a little bit. But here's an interesting one. Is Cooper Kupp droppable?
No.
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I did not watch the Seattle game, so I need to pull up.
He didn't have a great performance, and he's one of those guys. I guess it depends on the size of your league. I have him in one of my leagues, and just kind of on a flyer because, you figure being in that division with a high-powered offense like San Francisco, with a high-powered offense like the Rams, we're still kind of questionable on the Cardinals there. I don't have a lot of faith in Darnold, but I still like Cooper Kupp there. He's a solid number 2. Behind JSN. So I don't know if he's droppable. I mean, gosh, he's got to be owned in 85% of all leagues.
Yeah, he's got to be owned in a crazy amount, but it's realistically like, who are your other options? Like if you have just stellar options, sure. But you've got to have some depth there if you're talking about dropping him. And who are you dropping him for? Is he worth a Tank Bigsby? No, none of those things. So it's really what is the other questions that we don't, or the other parts of the answer that we don't have.
Yeah, and it's funny because Cooper Kupp, I own him in our league, which I said before. I was just taking after my first 3 picks, it was Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, and I was just trying to find some plug and play guys. I got Khalil Shakir in there as well. So I guess if you're pretty loaded with wide receivers, maybe, especially if you've gotten bitten by the injury bug early. But yeah. Like you were saying, I like him. Owned in 84% of all leagues. Only 16% of people actually start him, roughly. I
mean, I wouldn't start him, especially after the stat line. Freaking JSN 9 for 124. The next person got 3 targets, and that's tied with the running back. That's crazy. They literally went nowhere else with the ball. It was going to Jackson Smith and Jigba, basically.
Absolutely.
That's bananas. Like even on this side, I mean, 10 times to CMC, 7, but at least we got some 4, some 5. 3 is bananas. Man, and also, what about the 49ers, man? Brock Purdy out, George Kittle out. That team just fell apart.
I did not draft Purdy in any leagues this year because he burned me last year a little bit. But Kittle I took in, I think it was my home league. But that's a disappointing one because he put up some good numbers. And then all of a sudden you see the play that he got hurt on. It didn't look like much. But apparently it's a hamstring. And I think that I read he is officially on the IR. So he is going to be out for the next 4 weeks.
Damn. Yeah. Kittle. I see Kittle on the IR. Yeah. Purdy, I went pretty decent in. I'm not going to lie. Especially if I got CMC or especially if I got Kittle. That makes sense. Kittle being out obviously shoots me in a lot of leagues, but I also like going double tight end. So in a lot of them, I didn't lose. A lot of them, I've got Kittle Warren, Kittle Loveland, Kittle Fannin, luckily in one of mine. But yeah, after that, I mean, this offense, I guess we get to see if Kyle Shanahan and the original vote of confidence in Mac Jones is actually going to come to fruition. Like, is Mac Jones actually going to be like Tom Brady now that he has Kyle Shanahan? Because Curtis Rourke is out. They have no other quarterback, so they obviously have to go get somebody.
Yeah, and I don't mind that either. I think Shanahan, he runs a very simplistic offense. It's a systematic offense, and that's what a lot of people were saying about Brock Purdy is Brock Purdy's not a great quarterback. He's just in a great system. You can plug any quarterback in there. Mac Jones, obviously been in the league for half a decade now. Yep. I think he's a very viable backup quarterback there. And even looking at their backup tight end with Jake Tungus is how you say his name?
Yes, Tungus.
Not owned in any fantasy leagues, and why would you have him? But he'll be starting for George Kittle probably. And, last week he showed when Kittle got hurt, 3 receptions, 15 yards, and a touchdown. So he could be a very real red zone threat. Caught all 3 of the passes that were thrown to him. He had a great catch in the end zone. But we'll see. I don't think it's a gigantic step back, which is really odd to say if you think about, we lost our starting, Pro Bowl quarterback and tight end. I think they still have enough weapons in there, especially with CMC. I think they'll be fine.
I agree, and especially because this defense does have just dudes on it. Like, regardless of if anybody wants to think that they're done, I mean, Mykel Williams alone was a crazy pick for them. Everyone thought they would go in a different direction, but it's an absolutely Shanahan pick. Bosa, of course, D. Winters and Warner. I love that linebacker core. Luke Gifford as well. Demondre Lenore. I always mess that up. They've got guys all over, but really, I'm concerned. I do think that the Brock Purdy thing is something. I think it does lead to some sort of regression when it comes to this offense, because I don't think Mac Jones is as good as, even his Pro Bowl. That was a fluke Pro Bowl.
It was. The good thing, and I think you brought it up, is the fact that they've got a very easy schedule coming up. They're at New Orleans. They've got Arizona after that, which is a home game, divisional home game. You should win that.
Yep.
Jacksonville, I don't see them as being an overly hard team to beat. As long as he's back by week 5 when you're playing at LA, because then your schedule gets hard. LA, at Tampa Bay, Atlanta, at Houston, going across the other side of the coast at the New York Giants. That's rest up, Brock, because by the time you get back, week 5, you're going to have to be back by then, and Kittle should be back by then as well. That's when they're really going to need him.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And he's at the point now where, Kittle is a massive part of that offense, just in general. Here, I'm going to scoot you in the corner to make it easier. He's integral to that offense, period. There's no offense in San Francisco without him. So the pivot to that tight end that you talked about, Tongs, and even the guy ahead of him, what's this, Luke Farrell? They've got to get some kind of production out of them.
Yeah.
Because, yes, they need to capitalize on the the easiest schedule in the NFL by strength of schedule.
Yeah. That's why they were predicted to get a number 1 or a number 2 spot, in the playoffs. It's not because they're overly talented. They've got a very easy schedule in front of them.
Yeah. Obviously, no offense, they're going to beat us, my Carolina Panthers. This team might be lucky to win 3 games, but New Orleans, you should be able to beat them, no problem. They're rolling out Spencer freaking Rattler still. So, I'm even one of the people that was like, Shuck's a terrible pick, but if you're not going with Shuck, you made the wrong decision. Arizona, I feel like, is sneaky. But unless you look at their injury report, which, don't get me wrong, has half their freaking team on it right now. If you could get past that, I feel like they have a little something, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr. I do feel like whatever we were worried about last year has been fixed. So that could be an interesting one. Jacksonville, it just kind of depends on if you guys can stop Travis Hunter and BTJ. Rams, you guys are getting smoked. There's no way they're going to be able to beat the Rams in either of those games. Even with a hurt Matt Stafford, there's no way. That Rams defense is nasty. Yeah, then Atlanta, Houston, nah. This should be an easy schedule if they were healthy, but they're not. Doing good over there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a little bit of internet connection here. I'm not sure if I'm actually if I'm here or not.
Oh, I can see you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see you. You're good.
Sounded like you were coming off the set of Tron or something there.
Oh, what? I wish. I just saw the new trailer for the new Tron movie. I still have never seen any of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen a single one. It's not even because I'm not a Tron fan or anything like that. It's just always like I'm always doing something else. And to be honest, I never sit down and be like, I want to watch Tron now. Like it'll eventually get to that point, but probably once it's all over. Because I didn't know that there was going to be like 4 different Tron movies.
You know, I grew up. I watched it when I was younger. I loved Tron. I thought it was really great. And then they did the sequel to it. Like 20 years later, Tron Legacy, and that one was pretty good. They integrated the first one in, and now just watching the previews for the new Tron, it doesn't look like they're bringing back any of the old characters. It looks like it's a brand new thing, and so it kind of defeats the whole purpose of it. I'm not real excited. They probably could have called the movie just about anything else and just used Tron technology. But I don't know. I might watch it just for kicks, but it doesn't look like it has anything to do with the first 2, unfortunately.
Okay.
If you're a Tron fan anyway out there.
Hey, there's definitely a few people out there for sure. They keep making the movies.
Yeah.
But how do you look at this Browns offense now? Obviously, Baltimore's about to, play some Browns. We talked about Simpson and everything. Judkins. What about Cedric Tillman? I thought he actually played really well.
He did play really well, and he was kind of, from a fantasy standpoint too. You're looking at guys that you can pick up a little bit later in the draft. But 8 targets for Cedric Tillman. He's only owned in about 30% of all fantasy football leagues. 5 receptions, 52 yards, and a touchdown. So I think he can be sneaky good on that offense. I think that offense as a whole can be sneaky good. I think they've got a lot of young, good players on it, besides Joe Flacco, of course.
Right.
But, Flacco didn't do bad either, right? I mean, he had 2 picks, sure, not great. The second one was definitely not his fault. Hit the guy in the hands, and he's bobbling it around, and all of a sudden it's a pick. So there's a lot of youth on that team, and even their tight end depth is really good, right? So you've got Njoku, and you thought that he was going to be the big time tight end that was going to get all the points for you if you drafted him. And it turned out that it was a guy named Harold Fannin Jr., who's literally only owned in about 2 to 3% of leagues. And he had 7 receptions, 63 yards on 9 targets. Plus, here's the thing too, they gave him the ball once to run, and he got 3 yards on it. So, they had him kind of split out wide. They had him lined up as a tight end. They hand the ball off to him. It's a real weird kind of a situation that they've got going with him. So it's intriguing to me anyway, especially as a Ravens fan. We got Cleveland coming in next week. You got Joe Flacco coming back next week. Yep. For me, I'm such a big Flacco fan that I hate to almost say it, but if Cleveland won, and they do this to us every year, they get some kind of sneaky win. Yep. I wouldn't be as disappointed as last week where we have a 15-point lead with 4 minutes to go. So, I agree. But yeah, a lot of young players on that team. We'll see what happens. I mean, they missed a field goal, their kicker did, and could have made that game a lot more interesting against Cincinnati.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, to be honest, I felt like Cincinnati didn't win anything. I felt like the Browns lost it. I do think that offensive output, 5 for Cedric Tillman, 5 for Judy, 8 for Simpson, and like you said, 7 for Fannin. Flacco was out there slinging that thing, 31 of 45. That's how Cleveland is going to have to win games, with Joe Flacco literally carrying them. Obviously, the 2 interceptions isn't the greatest, but it probably could have helped out if you guys could have ran the ball. Obviously not you guys, but the Browns. 12 for 29 is terrible.
Yeah. And, Flacco came out hot. I think he was 6 for 6. They were short passes, trying to get it done real quick. Some high completion type of throws put in there. But, they built a rhythm with it. So not a terrible game for either one. You're talking about one of the – now I'm saying this as a Ravens fan after getting, blown out by Buffalo. The Bengals having one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Is that what we're looking at here instead of an actual efficient offense from Cleveland?
Yeah, that might be.
I guess we'll find out once they get Judkins in there and get him in the mix with Sampson and Ford.
You know what? I didn't even think about that aspect of it. You're 100% right that maybe it's a smoke and mirror. Like, where are they going to next? So obviously it's Baltimore, but then Green Bay, Detroit. Oh, Jesus Christ. They might not win a game until week 7. Oh my God. They're in a gauntlet.
Yeah, it's tough. And the crappy thing about that is, cheering for Flacco on the side here, hoping him to do well. It's not very promising when you're at Baltimore, you're playing Green Bay, at Detroit. Minnesota, that could be a win at home. They looked terrible last night. But then, obviously the division, Pittsburgh, Miami, and New England. But by then it might be too late.
It truly might be too late. That's why I feel like they're in the Carolina situation. Like Carolina plays a bunch of decent teams, and then we really get into the meat of it. If we don't win in those early decents, you're not going to win later.
Yeah.
Like this Browns, I mean, that might have been their first real chance to win, because you're not winning in Baltimore. You're not winning versus Green Bay. I'm sorry, that defense looks crazy. And I doubted the Packers a little bit. Detroit, I don't really care what anybody says. Detroit's still going to be able to go get the quarterback the whole bit. They should be able to eat against them. JJ McCarthy doesn't look like the worst quarterback ever, basically. So that might actually be something. And then Pittsburgh, I mean, I can't knock 4 touchdowns from Rodgers.
Yeah,
So they're hoping to go up against the Quinn Ewers in Week 7 for a win.
Yeah.
Does Shedeur start by then?
And the Steelers just got Jabril.
I saw that. Yep. From the Patriots.
Just got Jabril because Deshaun Elliott.
Yep.
Is injured. One of the former Ravens that they've got on their team.
Dude, that's how you build teams. You go get former Ravens.
Right? Oh, the only thing that I loved watching. So I watched that Jets-Steelers game in real time, and the only thing that I could say is I am so glad that we did not bring back Brandon Stevens. That dude was getting whooped by Calvin Austin III all frickin' day, and it wasn't even funny. And just so happens, Calvin Austin, one of the guys that you might want to target going into your first week of waivers here. He's only owned in about 5% of all leagues. Had 6 targets, 4 for 70 and a touchdown. So, but I will say that is because Brandon Stevens was on him, and he's terrible. That was like, if you could make a tape of worst performances of what not to do as a cornerback, that was pretty much it.
Well, I raised you the safety in Carolina, Nick Scott, because there's so much of the tape, like that 70-yarder, he just whiffs a tackle and he just lets ETN run straight by him. It's like, okay, I see what today is going to be. Yeah. I didn't see that, though. Calvin Austin, 4 for 70. I saw the Freiermuth and the Skoranek. I kind of kept popping back and forth between the games because of the Carolina rain delay.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I harbor a mistrust of Pittsburgh because they keep stealing the guys that I want for my team.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, literally. Max Frazier, I wanted for Carolina. Peyton Wilson, I wanted for Carolina. And then Jack Sawyer. And the minute Jack Sawyer went to Pittsburgh, I was like, oh, my God, dude. He's like the leading sack getter for Ohio State or something like that. He had some stupid stats coming out of college. I was like, of course you guys went out and got him.
Yep.
But Yaya Black for them as well. Like, he looked good. Of course, they still got TJ Watt. I mean, look at this. TJ Watt and Peyton Wilson are basically have the exact same stats, except Peyton Wilson had a QB hit and TJ Watt had 2 tackles for loss instead of 1. Like, could have been a Carolina Panther, but nope, he's over here helping Pittsburgh win. God damn it.
Well, the Ravens signed a wide receiver that we didn't need and let go of Malik Ham, who's an outside linebacker, which makes 0 sense to me whatsoever, considering the firepower that we actually have on offense and the struggles that we had on defense. But maybe you guys take a look at Malik Ham, because I'd be willing to bet that the Steelers are going to try to pick him up too, to go along with Patrick Queen and everybody else that they took from the Ravens' former roster.
Oh, yeah. Dude, and Patrick Queen, I thought you guys would suffer for, but Roquan Smith, perfect. Just perfect.
Yeah, you know what? And he's been getting a lot of crap. It's tough. When you think about the Buffalo Bills, you know that they are going to be a Super Bowl contender. I don't think anybody
every year.
Right. And even this year, it's like, are they going to have the number 1 and the number 2 seed? You're already talking about it. It's not even Kansas City anymore. It's not whoever's going to win the AFC West, which I don't think is going to be Kansas City anyway. But it's like, are they going to have number 1 or number 2? And people are already saying, well, maybe in the playoffs, Buffalo is going to have to travel to, the Ravens. It's going to come down to, I think, Buffalo, really.
I agree.
And so when you're talking about a high-powered offense like that, it's tough, right? Even when you're one of the best middle linebackers in the game. Roquan Smith, as I was watching that game intently, he was showing up everywhere. The internet likes to pick it apart. And yep, there was one crossing route toward the end of the game where I think it was Keon Coleman maybe got in front of him, tried to get to him, didn't get to him. Marlon Humphrey couldn't get to him. And everyone all of a sudden is, Roquan Smith isn't the guy that he used to be. He still is. He's still a leader in tackles. He still gets to every play. So I agree with you there. Roquan is one of the better, middle linebackers in the league, and loved that trade. Obviously, we dominated that trade. We gave them nothing in return, basically, after their draft picks. So can't be more happy about that one.
100%, dude. And I mean, look at that. Leads the team in that game in tackles. I mean, that's exactly what you want from a linebacker. That's what so many teams are not doing. They're not building that linebacker position, but the good teams do. Baltimore continually goes and gets it. Same thing with the pass rusher, Mike Green. I mean, the fact that he's just on your team makes me laugh every time I see it. Same thing with, who was it?
Madubuike.
Yes, he's another good one. There was one where I can't remember who it was. TJ Tampa. There we go. That's another one that once he went to you guys, I was like, okay. He's going to Baltimore. He's going to a stable organization. It's going to be something. I mean, Nate Wiggins, a great pickup, regardless of what anybody says. Oh, there's the name I was thinking of. Malachi Starks. The fact that you guys got him is the Ravens through and through. It is the most Ravens pick possible. He falls to a place that just goes, here's your Hall of Fame jacket. Come get it.
Exactly, right? Here we're going to pair you up with one of the best safeties in the league with Kyle Hamilton. Yeah. And then we're going to make sure that he doesn't leave, and we're going to give him a 4-year extension. So, you're going to have Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton as safeties for the next half a decade at least. But yeah, and then look at we lost a guy, Ardarius Washington. In the beginning of the year, he turned, for being a guy who's only 5'9", dude, hard hitter. Came up with a lot of big plays toward the end of the season, took out Russell Wilson on a play, took out James Cook on a play, 1 yard line, not letting these guys into the end zone. And so obviously he's gone and kind of messes some things up, and they bring in they got a bunch of corners now. So you got Marlon Humphrey as a roamer. You've got Jair Alexander, who, for that first game, he can go back to Green Bay for all I care. But guys like TJ Tampa, Nate Wiggins. So yeah, it's almost, and their counterpart maybe in the NFC, I would say is the Eagles. They seem to be able to do the same damn thing with defensive backs, getting Cooper DeJean on a late, he should have went probably in the first round. I thought he was going to go to Green Bay at the end of that draft. But he sneaks into the second, and the Philadelphia Eagles sneak up for him. So yeah,
Yeah, DeJean was one of those. The Eagles consistently show me how to build a team. Sorry, I was logging into NFL.com because I was trying to see if I could actually just pull up the All-22 from the Ravens game. But yeah, the Eagles are that team. They constantly get guys. They go get Jalen Carter when everyone's like, oh my God, don't go get him. They get the trope of the Georgia Eagles and all that, where they were just drafting Georgia player after Georgia player after Georgia. Hey, man, guess what? They all played multiple years in college together. And what did they do? They went out there and went in a Super Bowl and blitzed 0% of the time and got to the quarterback like 60% of the time. It was stupid.
Yeah.
They figured out the secret sauce. If the rest of the league doesn't like a guy, you need to go draft that guy. There's a reason why they don't like him, and that's because he's too good.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the Mike Green thing. There was some off the field things, but Jalen Carter smoked weed. Like, I'm sorry. That is the dumbest reason for him not to be a number one pick. The Mike Green thing justified, but still, he falls to a 10 out of 10 organization. Just like Jahad Campbell falling to a 10 out of 10 organization. He's going to be a linebacker for the Eagles for a decade.
Yeah, and Mike Green, I mean, he had some really good plays on Sunday night as well. Coming around that right-hand side and almost getting to Josh Allen a couple of times there, but creating disruption. And again, you've got the internet football warriors out there who are like, oh, he wasn't staying in his lane. Well, sometimes it's your job to stay in your lane, and sometimes it's not. That's the defensive scheme. On his side of the ball, when you're getting to the back end of Josh Allen, you have a chance to take him down. Yeah, he got pushed outside. He's fast. He's got to put on the brakes a little bit more. But he's a rookie, for Pete's sake. I mean, give the guy some time. His bend is ridiculous. His speed is ferocious. He's going to get to the quarterback. He's going to. If I had to make a gamble right now, I'd say he's going to end as the Ravens sack leader at the end of this year, and he will be a guy that you're talking about for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's just so talented. The funny thing is, the allegations and him slipping down from potentially a top 10, top 15, top 12 guy in the draft, coming out of Marshall, and then falling into the second round. Who else do we know that came from Marshall that fell? How about Randy Moss?
Oh yeah,
Randy Moss. He should have been a top 5 guy. Obviously, super freak, off-field stuff, and unfortunately, that happened throughout his NFL career as well. But another guy coming out of Marshall who just dominated, and so yeah, it should be interesting to see those parallels if they come true.
Absolutely. And I just pulled up some Malachi Starks reps from the game. Got access to the all 22. I mean, dude is just a freak. You can play him in the box. You can play him in coverage. Obviously, they're going to play him in a lot of coverage. Very, very intelligent player.
Almost had a pick early. We almost had 2 picks early. It was him and then Awuzie, another cornerback that we forgot to mention before. Chibodi Awuzie played a really great game.
Oh, yeah.
And for him, for being a backup piece, really, for when they picked him up, there was no way that you thought he was going to be starting. But, yeah, he's fast, smart, really great player. He's going to be, dare I say, I hate the term generational talent, but he is going to be one of those safeties that sticks around for a long time, like a Harrison Smith.
Absolutely. And you obviously hope that he continues to, want to stay in Baltimore too, because, once they get too good, they always want to get paid.
Yes, sir.
I was trying to see if Mike Green had any interesting ones here, but I don't see him coming up. They're just pulling up the whole game. I guess it's just showing every play that he's involved in. No, I want to see him actually hit somebody. Did he actually get the opportunity? Is he on the score sheet or anything? Or?
I'm not even sure. I saw him a couple of times. Believe me, my wife and I were watching the game together, and I was like, "Hey, where's Mike Green? Where's Mike Green at? Where's 45?"
He has 1 tackle.
Yeah, he didn't make an impact to the stat sheet, but he was definitely all over the field.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, regardless of what anybody says, I refuse to be one of those people that doesn't believe in the Ravens, that doesn't believe in this defense, regardless of what happened, the collapse. It happened. It's something they're going to have to deal with. Oh, here's his 1 tackle. But I think it's something that will fix itself. I don't think it's anything to panic about. I do still 100% believe this is the best defense in football, and that's even ahead of the Packers, who look just insane. I want to see the end zone one. God, Mike Green's going to be such a good player. And there he goes. Boom.
A lot of missed opportunities, and that's why it's an 18-week season.
Exactly. Yeah, to be honest, there's so much. Like I said, my Panthers just flubbed it. I genuinely don't think there's a way that Carolina can fix it this year. At least you have faith, dude. You guys might be in the Super Bowl. My wife will absolutely get a signed jersey if that's the case.
Yeah, as of right now, we're actually planning on going down to Miami. I think it was week 10, 11, 9, something like that. There's a Thursday night game where the Ravens are playing the Dolphins. And now more than ever, it's just like, wow, the Dolphins are so bad. Because you like to go, if you're going to spend money and go on the road and pay for all of that,
yep.
You'd like to go for a victory. We did that a couple of years ago when they went down to Arizona. But me living in Minnesota, every 8 years, they come to Minnesota. And this year is the year. So might be going to 2 games this year. Absolutely. This is like, I love it because it's like every 8 years, hey, great, we're definitely going to a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I as a Ravens fan, you just, there's one side that says, hey, how much do you have to be up by? 3 scores? Really? Do you have to be 3 scores? Because it goes from excitement, to anxiety again.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry can rattle off a 50-yard run and put you up by 2 scores, and you're just excited as all hell. But as soon as you kick off, it's like, oh God, please just stop him. Just stop him one time. And so that is the life of a Ravens fan. Every time that we watch a game, it's just like, wow, what a great, I mean, you got Zay Flowers, who had more receiving yards than any other receiver this weekend. Lamar Jackson is just a freak. He's putting up highlights, running 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then getting a 20-yard gain. Derrick Henry is unbelievable.
Just ridiculous.
Isn't he? For being 30, 31, whatever, I want to, man, it's crazy. But that's basically what it is. It's excitement every offensive series and disappointment every defensive one.
I agree. Until you guys start rattling them off, and then it's going to be just cheers all around.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we got a possible question.
All right.
Possible to trade Pollard and a handcuff running back to get Hampton, trying to buy low before he skyrockets. I don't know if that's worth the trade right now, especially in a redraft. I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Trade I personally Pollard don't on Tennessee to be able to handcuff Hampton.
No, and a handcuff running back.
Oh, okay.
Pollard and a handcuff.
And a handcuff running back to get Hampton. Well, who's the handcuff running back?
Yeah, that's good context. We're going to need that because right now, if I'm thinking Pollard, and we'll just say Jordan James or Brian Thomas or Brian Robinson, none of them move me. I don't think it's worth it to swap to Hampton though, because I think that the Braylon Allen, I actually like Braylon Allen a lot. I would say don't trade this personally.
I'm kind of on the fence. I'd like to know what the rest of the team looks like, only because I don't think I'm not a real big fan of Tennessee this year.
I agree.
Braylon Allen. Okay, so I would actually take that trade.
Really? So you would do Pollard and Braylon for Hampton?
I would do. Oh, maybe I misunderstood. Possible to trade Pollard and a handcuff running back to get Hampton. No, I'm sorry, I misread that. You're going to want to probably hang on to Braylon Allen as much as he's the backup right now. There's all these trade talks, isn't it? Isn't it funny? There's all these trade talks with the Jets, with Breece Hall. What are you doing right now? But if he's not happy, if he's in the last year of his contract, if they continue to lose games, he could be out. He could be going to a team that maybe finds themselves with a running back injury and has a winning record where they're going to want to bring somebody in. That gives you Braylon Allen as a starter automatically. Agreed. Instead of waiting for Hampton to become the starter. I think that will happen. As of right now, though, I don't know. I don't think I'd make that trade either. I think you're giving away too much.
I agree. And my theory is just because Tyjae Spears doesn't come back till at least week 5. So you've got at least 5 weeks of Pollard at a pretty decent high.
Yeah.
To be honest, the Titans didn't look bad. To be honest, it looks like Cam Ward got let down by the rest of his team. Braylon Allen trade talks, you're right. It could come into something. But I think it's more of just what Harbaugh has said. He wants Justin Herbert to win an MVP. Nobody wins an MVP handing off to the running back. Maybe the Justin Herbert that we saw in week 1 coming out there gun blazing is exactly what we're going to see the rest of the year. And Omarion Hampton is a really great running back on a team that doesn't need to run the ball every down to win. Because to be honest, I did not see that Chargers team.
I agree with you 100%. And, I look at that Thursday night game with the Chargers, or Friday night game with the Chargers and the Chiefs, and you almost got to think, well, what was Harbaugh thinking? A guy who's renowned for being a run-first guy. This is why they drafted Joe Alt.
That's why I was so down with it.
Yeah, and so when you look at that, but then you look at who they're playing, and they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and last year they had one of the most prolific run defenses in the NFL. Maybe he put those two things together and said, hey, you know what, we're going to have to pass this game. We're going to have to pass in order to win, and that's what the game plan was. Is that going to be their game plan every week, or is it just against the Chiefs, who he knows has a really good run defense? Because when you're looking at, and I'll kind of skip over to another side here on the fantasy side of it, some wide receivers that you could target waiver wire wise this week is Quentin Johnson. He was the second highest scoring wide receiver this week. I bypassed him because he had a case of the dropsies and his preseason wasn't really that great. He's only owned in about 10% of all fantasy leagues, but he had 7 targets, 5 receptions, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then another guy who could potentially be out there still is Keenan Allen. And Keenan Allen finished 9th overall in points this weekend for wide receivers. He's owned in only 50% of leagues, and he had 10 targets. So between the two of them, 17 targets, 12 receptions, 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's crazy. That's just efficient. And why do you step away from that then?
I 100% agree with you. Yeah, because this defense, obviously, the Chargers have a pretty solid defense just overall. But I really was expecting the Chiefs defense to do more. But then again, I thought I was talking about the Herbert of old. I'm 100% on record saying Herbert is not it. I call him Sherbert for a reason. Ooh, like, I did not see this. 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 25 of 34. And you're right, 10 targets to Keenan Allen. Obviously, safety blanket veteran, and I'm a Panthers fan, so we had Adam Thielen, so I completely get that. But I did not see the Quentin Johnston one. I own him 0 times in 100 leagues.
Yeah. Yeah, and who haven't we talked about? How about Ladd McConkey? He's their number 1 guy. So you're talking about Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen here putting up big numbers. It's not always going to be that way. They've got 3 stud wide receivers on that team.
Yeah, and that's without even talking about Trey Harris, who, as a rookie, I feel like is going to do really well. His 1 reception for 11 yards. I know it's not a whole lot, and nobody's writing home about it, but it at least breaks the seal. And then on the other side, man, I can't believe that Taylor Swift called a hit on Xavier Worthy. I can't believe it happened. It's over for Worthy. I mean, obviously they've released no information, so that's pretty telling about what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely a shoulder injury. Is it the labrum? Is there a muscle tear in there? You're talking about a guy like Xavier Worthy, and there's reasons why people thought that he might not make it as long as other wide receivers. He's a small guy.
Yep.
You can't constantly take hits like that. And unfortunately, when you're running directly into your gigantic tight end, part of it is his own fault. You got to know what the route is. You got to watch where you're going there. But the other part is he's a small dude. You take a hit like that, and now, how long is he going to be out for? Is it an AC joint? Is it? I mean,
to be honest, it looked like he ripped his shoulder up. I would expect at least IR, at least at this point. And if that's the case, they're going to wait till Tuesday, Wednesday to put him on it. That doesn't make any sense. That means he's out 5-6 weeks at least. And this could be something like blown out shoulder. Like, of course, you could go worst case, but It could be real bad. And 1 target, obviously, didn't catch it. 1 run, 0 yards, and then Worthy might be done. So who do they really go to? Juju had the one where he fought through. I thought that looked really good. Kelsey looked fine. Nothing crazy. Obviously 2 for 4, so not the best night for him. Hollywood Brown looked fine, but I felt like it was just because they were getting forced those quick balls because they were just trying to stay in the game. They didn't expect this Chargers game to be anything crazy, and obviously they expected to have Worthy the entire game.
Absolutely. Yep, couldn't agree with you more. And I know Hollywood Brown. Obviously, he was part of the Ravens for a while, and they ended up getting rid of him because
keep going back to those Ravens, man.
Yeah,
all your players are everywhere.
Oh, they got rid of Hollywood Brown, and part of it had to do with the dropsies. And It was funny because he had a case of the dropsies on Friday night as well.
He's 16 for 10 or 10 for 16.
16 targets, 10 receptions, 99 yards. The wide receiver room is in decline. And if we wanted to try to put 2 and 2 together, maybe it's just a matter of time before a certain somebody, Cheetah, goes back to Kansas City because he's pouting. He's on the sideline. He's not happy there.
I'm pretty sure there's a rumor that he has already had an internal discussion about it.
Yep, heard that as well.
I heard that earlier that there's already been a call to Kansas City and to Pittsburgh. Neither of which I think makes sense because why do you need another speedster on there? I don't think it really. I don't know because you're gonna have to pay Tyreek Hill unless it's a literal 1-year rental, which I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure he is in like a contract. So if that's the case, you're gonna pay him $30 million. No, that doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Maybe Kansas City looks at it as a hey, we fleeced the Dolphins in that Tyreek Hill trade in the first place. Maybe we'll just take him back and we still come out winners.
What did they trade for him though? They're going to have to give up somebody.
Yeah, and I think it happens probably sooner than later. Unfortunately, Miami doesn't have a quarterback. Their offensive line is off. I'm not a huge fan of their head coach either.
Yeah, he's definitely done. He's the first coach fired for sure.
If there's a guy on the hot seat right now, it's got to be him.
Oh yeah, Mike McDaniel's done. I would agree. He's the first one gone. The second one could be an interesting one. It could be Canales if Tepper goes crazy. It could be Stefanski if they go down 6 straight.
Yeah.
I don't understand the Stefanski one. And if he gets fired and the Carolina Panthers don't immediately hire him, I'm going to fight somebody. But I don't understand how he's even on the hot seat. They're the Browns. They're eternally cursed. It's not Stefanski's fault.
No.
And then anybody else, I don't think – I'm trying to go through the head coaches. He's getting fired. Glenn just got there. He just got there.
Daboll might be on the hot seat in New York.
I think he starts Dart by week 6, and I think Dart looks good enough that they're good enough.
For sure.
Just keep going.
I would put the under on week 6. If the over-under is week 6, I would think probably closer to week 4. Russell Wilson did not look great at all. It's the same thing, and it was funny because I actually posted he had one run where he's trying to make it, and he gets down inside the 5-yard line, and he gets popped by somebody, and he fumbles the ball. They were able to recover it, but it reminded me of when Russell Wilson was on the Steelers last year. And it's funny because we just kind of talked about this with Ardarius Washington. Yep. Same deal. He's running for the end zone. Ardarius comes along and pops him, fumbles the ball, and the Ravens get it. But I don't think Russell Wilson, I don't think he makes it out of week 4.
I would agree with you. I can't stand the fact that they're playing Russell Wilson. I'd rather them roll out Jameis Winston if they're really going to do that. But I do believe in Jackson Dart a tiny bit, if only from those few preseason things. He's going to go out there and suck it up just like a lot of other rookie quarterbacks. So I'm not expecting 30 touchdowns even if he starts week 2. But if he gives me 22 as a rookie, that's a W. And especially with, Russell Wilson, 8 targets to Wan'Dale Robinson. No offense, if anybody picked Wan'Dale Robinson as their wide receiver 1, you would be laughed out of there. But 6 in a PPR league, that's more than A.J. Brown scored.
Yes.
It blows my mind. I do feel like this Giants team is a lot better than people are willing to admit as well, especially the defense. 2 sacks from Brian Burns. Of course, the shared sack between Thibodeau and Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter's first game, he's already going after the quarterback, already getting there. That's a massive W for them. Javon Holland also showed up finally. Tyler Nubin. Nobody can say Bobby Okereke's name.
Okereke.
That's how I've always said it. If it's wrong, it might be. But no, when I was talking about coaches getting fired, obviously not getting fired. Tomlin might get fired if he doesn't win 9 games, but if they look anything like that the rest of the season, they'll be just fine.
I was shocked by that Pittsburgh game. But before getting back into that, if you take a look at the Giants' schedule, you've got at Dallas, that's a loss. You've got Kansas City at home, probably a loss. Who knows with the wide receiver issues that they've got. Then you've got the Chargers, probably a loss. So you could potentially go 0-4 as the Giants. And at that point in time, there is no reason to keep Russell Wilson in there. And then you've got New Orleans. At least give the kid, Jackson Dart, an easier game, to get in there and go, hey, you know what? You're going to go against, not one of the better teams in the NFL here before you face the Eagles and the Broncos. But they're dead in the water after that. You've got Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again, 49ers. It's not going to be a good year for Giants fans.
I agree. I feel like the decision needs to be made at Kansas City. And it needs to be made at Kansas City because not to start Dart at the Chargers, start Russell Wilson. But the minute Russell Wilson starts to go sideways, you yank him and let Dart go the rest of it. The first screw up. So this way you essentially give him a soft opening at the Chargers to see what he looks like. And if he goes out there and slings it, we're cooking with fire now. Let's see what he looks like in New Orleans. And if he replicates that, we might have something. But if he comes out there against New Orleans, who's probably going to be rolling out Tyler Shuck by then.
Right.
It's going to be one of these things of man, if he shows up in New Orleans and sucks, that's going to be the worst news. I think that would be get Dayball fired. Because then he goes Philly, Denver, Philly, San Francisco.
Yeah.
That is a bad 4 games. Even though San Francisco's offense might be dog water, their defense is not something to play around with. Chicago, right. I'll give you a little bit of leeway, but then Green Bay, Detroit, New England. You're right. It's got to be week 4. Or I'm sorry, week 5.
Yeah, week 4, 5, by 6, you got to make a decision.
Absolutely.
I would, is it impossible for them to go 0-4? No. And at that point in time, your season's pretty much over with anyway. Who makes the playoffs after starting 0-4?
Exactly. I mean, even when you realistically look at the Saints, I mean, they barely lost to Arizona. So I think they're a little bit better than people are willing to admit. The defense is a little bit better. Offense, though, it's Alvin Kamara or bust. Chris Olave was in the tent. It's not good. No Taysom Hill. They don't have anybody. I'm literally going to pull it up right now. Devin Neal, no. Bub Means, yep. Yeah, after you get past Olave, do I believe in Brandon Cooks? No. Devon Vele, no. Tipton, Palmer. It's literally Rashid Shaheed or bust.
Yeah.
And he can't catch every ball out there. Tight end, Juwan Johnson, Jack Stoll, I don't really like either.
Oh, you're going to balk at Juwan Johnson?
Yes.
He's probably, if you're looking for a tight end this week in fantasy, I mean, take a look at Juwan Johnson. Now, he's not on anybody's radar because he's owned in, maybe 1% of all leagues, but he did end 4th overall in fantasy points for tight ends. 11 targets. And I think you're going to get that. See, this is why I drafted TJ Hawkinson, because I figured rookie quarterback in there, everybody's going to be covering deep. You've got, JJ is out there running deep. You've got Adam Thielen out there. You've got Jalen Naylor out there. TJ Hawkinson, he's going to be your best friend. He didn't do crap. Not the stereotypical new quarterback checking down to the tight end, but new quarterback, Spencer Rattler, or whoever they're going to put in there if it's Shuck later on. You got Juwan Johnson as the number 1 tight end there. 11 targets. He caught 8 for 76. It's not because he's a great tight end. It's because the dude's checking down. He's trying to build up the confidence. They're making easy plays for him. From a fantasy perspective, he's got some potential in there. Maybe not as, an actual NFL tight end, but definitely as a fantasy option. If you have George Kittle, like some people do, I'm going after him.
I might have to do the same, dude. I didn't see that. Maybe I just don't remember it because my mind is on Trey McBride. He's playing my Panthers this week, and dude is going to feast on my linebacker core. So I just keep looking at that name, Trey McBride. But wow, Juwan, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 76. You're not joking. Well, that's legit George Kittle stats.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point against Carolina too, is Brenton Strange on Jacksonville. Keep in mind, it's pretty much the same offense as what they ran when they had Evan Engram there. So Evan Engram now it's got to be at least 3 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago, he had over 100 receptions. So he's going to get his take as well. Brenton Strange, another sleeper tight end, if you don't have him. Take a peek at that real quick too, because he's going to be a playmaker.
I agree. And here we got a question: Breece Hall, Olave, Pearsall, Hampton, AJ Brown. Pick one for wide receiver 2 and one for a flex. So we need a wide receiver 2, and then I need a flex.
Well, I don't think you can quite. I'll let you go first. Go ahead, man.
No, you're fine. Feel good. The only one I was going to say immediately off rip is not Olave.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go Olave on that one. My first one automatically is AJ Brown.
Yeah, you have
to
stick
him in your wide receiver 2. You can't give up on AJ Brown.
I agree.
He'll bounce back. Yeah, as much as I don't like, and I just went against him, Jalen Hurts this last weekend, but it's not a great passing game in Philadelphia. But I don't think that you can just bench AJ Brown and take him off your bench after 1 week. Again,
Agreed.
Week 1 is a liar. I think AJ Brown needs to stay in there. For your flex, I'm looking at Breece Hall. I think that's a great pick. If not, after that, I'm probably going Pearsall. Even with the not having Purdy in there, they're not going to have George Kittle in there either. So I think that opens up for Hall. And if I'm not mistaken, is Jennings playing, or is he still questionable?
Jennings is still questionable as of now.
Okay.
I'm just making sure to drop this in the chat, so if anybody else would like to join the conversation, by all means, bring it on by.
Yeah, Juwan Jennings is still questionable. So you've got Ricky Pearsall, and he's the go-to guy, especially for a guy like Mac Jones.
I agree. Mac Jones completely changes the equation for the 49ers. I like Juwan Jennings, but yeah, I probably go A.J. Brown, Pearsall here. I don't think the target share for the Jets is going to be anything crazy. Brees isn't going to get a bunch of balls out of the back or anything, so you're really hoping that he's just going to run all over it.
Exactly.
And I don't know who I'm going to pull it up. They're playing the Bills. That's absolutely not happening. So yeah, this is.
Ooh.
You could have the argument it's Hampton over him, but no, I'm going to go Pearsall all day long. Pearsall and A.J. Brown, not even close.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Brees Hall was going to be up against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play against that. I'm not gonna play against the Ravens defense. There's a few that I'm just not gonna touch. And then same thing, A.J. Brown and his. Why don't I just pull up the schedule? Why do I keep going to each individual team? Week 2. Okay, what are we looking at first? So we are looking at Philly is playing at Kansas City, so that's might be a running crazy game. But if Kansas City tries to make it interesting, A.J. Brown could absolutely get some bombs. So, yeah, I'm going with him. This could turn into a pretty crazy game, just like we saw with Ravens-Bills. So, I think that could be fun. Pearsall, the 49ers are playing New Orleans. Absolutely play that. No offense, it's Christian McCaffrey or bust. And then outside of that, it's Ricky Pearsall or bust. Juwan Jennings is not the guy right now, in my opinion. And then Hampton is playing all the way down here at the bottom. They're playing Vegas.
Yeah,
that could be an interesting one, but I still think it's going to be maybe week 1 is the truth, and Herbert really might win the MVP this year. So if that's the case, Hampton ain't going to be anybody crazy, especially with Dobbins there.
Right. Yep. He's still splitting time. So, I mean, if you're looking at it from a running back perspective, you go Brees Hall over Hampton because he's still splitting time. You don't go Olave because he's injured. So basically it breaks it down to your safest plays are going to be A.J. Brown and Pearsall.
Yeah, I agree. He said his RB2 is Alvin Kamara as well. Again, Kamara at San Francisco. I'm a little worried about that, but to be honest, Kamara is that guy.
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything, that whole offense runs through Kamara.
Exactly. And not just that, but Devin Neal's not going to be anybody behind him. There's nobody else. Once you get past Alvin Kamara, they don't really have a crazy offense. Like we said, Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
Juwan Taylor. Is that the right one for the Saints? I'm messing it up now. Geez.
Juwan Johnson.
Juwan Johnson. There we go. Okay.
Throwing out so many names.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson. My bad. That's a great one. Again, Chris Olave could go off. But if that's the case, you're hoping that this turns into like a shootout. And right now, I don't think a Mac Jones 49ers-led team wins any shootouts. So I don't think that's really going to be worth it.
Yeah, I don't think they want to get into any shootouts. They've got CMC back there for a reason, and they've got Brian Robinson Jr. now as a backup as well. You've got running back 1A and 1B. So if they get any kind of a lead in San Francisco, they're just going to be running the ball a whole lot.
Yeah, and I agree. Alvin over Brees or Hampton. I don't think you can really put him. Brees is going up against Buffalo. Don't even play with that one. And then we got another one. Pick one to flex this week: Debo, Etienne, or Diggs. Debo is a Commander now, so he is playing against Green Bay. I don't know how I feel about that. Etienne is playing Cincinnati. I really like that. And then Diggs is playing Miami. Ooh.
I was underwhelmed with Stephon Diggs this last weekend. So for me, it was an automatic. It's between Debo and Etienne. Knowing that Travis Etienne is playing Cincinnati, boy, you can go either way with this one. If they can't keep up, it might be a lot of passes out of the backfield for Etienne. If they can't try to shut down that Cincinnati defense or shut down that Cincinnati offense. Otherwise, I don't mind Debo because I think what's going to happen there, I think that game could be a shootout. I think you're looking at Green Bay, Washington. That could turn into something really huge. Debo obviously comes out of the backfield. They're going to hand him the ball maybe 2 or 3 times. But they're going to have their best corner. Obviously, they're going to shut down Scary Terry there. So Debo might have some running room there. That's a tough one. Debo and ETN. What do you think?
Oh, I'm probably not going to take ETN, even though he just ran all over my Panthers. I don't think that they're going to be able to do that against Cincinnati, even though they do have a bad defensive line. I don't think it's that bad, and I think they do have some solid secondary players that can actually play together. I really like Battle. I can't remember his first name for the life of me, but he plays on the Bengals secondary. They have guys. So for that reason, I'm out on ETN. I think he returns back to the earth. Debo, I like for some reason, just because Packers might really be after Jaden, and the perfect safety valve besides Zach Ertz could be Debo Samuel. And then, of course, I like Diggs against Miami, but my concern is what happens if the Patriots go up 14 early, 21 early, and they just start handing the ball off to, Trevion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, and then we don't need Diggs anymore. The game's over. So that's my concern with that. Let me go look at the Commanders' first game. It was obviously against the Giants, so these are going to be a little bit of inflated stats. Obviously, Bill gets the touchdown running, but 10 targets, 7 for 77. The closest other person had 5 targets at Zach Ertz. Debo might be the play there. Especially because, again, you're going to have to get safety valve passes. You're going to have to make sure that Jaden Daniels doesn't end up on his ass because Micah Parsons is coming for him. Yeah,
I tell you what, I've got Debo in one league now. It's a deep league. I've got 3 starting. It's 3 wide receivers and a flex, and I've got CeeDee Lamb, JSN, and one of your guys, Tet McMillan, and then I got Debo in the flex. And I'm benching Rashid Shaheed. I'm benching Marvin Mims. I'm benching Kyle Williams, Jaden Higgins, Austin Eckler, blah, blah, blah. So I think in deeper leagues there, you've got a guy who's a 50-50 start, right? Debo Samuels. By the way, that league that I'm in, kudos and thank you to Kevin Ostreicher, is a writer for, I'm going to plug my Ravens again, Lockdown Ravens, locked in on NFL podcast, Ravens Wire. Invited me onto a league, which is really cool.
That's awesome, man.
Appreciate that. That was really awesome. But yeah, I like Debo this week. I think Thursday night, and especially Thursday night, right? So you got a short turnaround time. You don't have a whole lot of time to prepare, and I think that's a disadvantage for defenses, which means more offensive output. So I don't know. I like Debo.
I agree. I'm not going to go anywhere else here. I think it's Debo. I'm not willing to bet on Diggs. ETN again returns to form. I think ETN could still have 100 rushing yards and still be a 10, 12, 14 point guy. But if you're going to have somebody that maybe goes for 22, 24, 26, it's going to be Debo. Just because right now they don't really have anybody else that's showing up. Terry McLaurin in that first game, like you said, not really, showing up on any box scores.
Yeah, knowing Terry's history, he's not going to perform very well in week 2 again.
Yeah, when your second best target is your tight end, Jalen Lane, the rookie, getting 2 targets, and we don't see. Oh, there we go. I was about to say, where the heck is his name? Terry McLaurin, 2 for 27, same as Noah Brown, noted absolute not league winner.
Yeah, Debo's not going to disappear either. Almost 20 points last week. You got to play the hot hand sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And 10 targets. Can't get any hotter than that at this point. But no, I don't. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to pull up my Carolina Panthers schedule. Where do you see the first possible win as an outsider? My personal one is there isn't one. But I could obviously, it's the NFL. People win games. We almost beat the Eagles and the Chiefs last year. Fluky games happen. Where do you see the first possible win? Because we don't play New Orleans till week 10.
All right. And now I wish I would have had, you know what? I'm going to pull this up. I've got actually a picture of my.
I got it on screen, worst case.
No, I'm going to refer back to my original picks here that I made in the beginning of the season. I actually see your first win. I've got you guys down. I had you for a loss in week 1. I had you for a loss against Arizona in Arizona. I've got you marked down for a win in week 3. Hosting Atlanta. Yep.
Okay.
Hosting Atlanta, I think you guys get it. And here's why, is because you never know what's going to happen within the conference, right?
Yeah.
So it's a conference game. And unless a team is really garbage or unless a team is really good, you're generally going to end up splitting those games, right? So if it was in Atlanta, I'd been like, nah, you're gonna lose in Atlanta. But the fact that it's in Carolina, I think it adds an additional level of intensity. I think Carolina comes out with the win on that one, and I'm not impressed with Atlanta even in week 1. So I'll go Panthers win in week 3.
There you go. That I could be on the same page with that. Drake London and Darnell Mooney are both hurt, so they would literally have to beat us with pretty much Bijan alone, or Kyle Pitts, which I swear to God, if my team gets murked by Kyle Pitts, I'm going to be so mad. But it's also because their defense, like you said, I mean, you didn't say, but kind of in what happened in the game, the defense didn't look the greatest. Even though they went out there and spent all this money on these guys, Jalon Walker kind of disappeared. James Pierce Jr. didn't get the crazy amount of snaps that everyone thought he would. I think he only got like 20 or something. I mean, Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman didn't look like the worst players, but there's still a lot of guys on this defense that are unproven. And if they're missing Drake London, who I'm pretty sure he fell on his shoulder. Yeah, left with a shoulder injury. I mean, that's a concern for your long-term offense, regardless of how good Michael Penix looks.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of Bryce Young. I never have been. Go back to any podcast that I did since he was drafted. I don't think he was a number 1 quarterback. And I honestly, I'll stand to it. I think he probably was best suited to go in the late 2nd, early 3rd round. Just based on his size and his skill set. I don't understand the hype. And that's the fascinating thing about the NFL. It's like they seem to have this agenda of hyping up these guys, and you look at them and you look at their stats, and it's like, well, I'm not seeing anything special here. And that year when it was Bryce Young and they gave up the farm for him, and CJ Stroud, I would have thought that they were going to move up to number 1 to get CJ Stroud, because he just seemed to have a more refined and more polished, even passing motion. He seemed to have. There's just something there, right? And it's not something that you can always point to and write down. It's the same thing with Caleb Williams. If I was the Chicago Bears getting that 1st-round draft pick, again, from Carolina via the trade, I would have traded that 1st-round pick for more. I would have built a dynasty out of it and gotten 3 or 4 more future picks again, because the hype is Caleb Williams. And when you look at Caleb Williams in his college career before he was drafted, his last year in college, he could not beat a ranked opponent.
Yep.
He could not come from behind and win. And those are kind of the tangible things that you want to have in your court. Can he rally the troops? Can he come back and win? Is he mature enough to do it? His whole 3-year college career, I think he was like 4-10 or something against ranked opponents. So he wasn't beating hard teams.
Exactly.
And then you get some of these, on the sideline type of things where he's jumping into the crowd and he's crying with his mom and he's painting his nails and he's got a pink phone cover. And I'm not pointing to any of that kind of stuff and saying one way or the other, but it's all little things where it's like, can we take him seriously? Is he going to be this guy that you can rely on? And so far, I don't think he is. Even looking at him last night, he didn't look real good. Again, he's overthrowing a wide open DJ Moore, and he had some good passes, but then he looked awful. And it was the same thing with Bryce Young too, right? So he makes a really good pass to Tet that maybe he should have caught, and then he overthrows a wide open Renfro that could have went for a touchdown, but he threw it like 5 yards before him. So he's just not making the right plays all the time. He's just not a very polished, consistent quarterback. So I see that in Penix as well. I'm not on the Penix bandwagon either. And when you take away a Drake London, they've got a stout running game. I don't know why Tyler Algier isn't getting seen more. I think he had 2 less carries than Bijan did in week 1. And that should be a concern for Bijan owners in fantasy football. But so you've got this offense that you're relying on, on Michael Penix, and I don't see it with him either. So that's why I kind of picked Carolina over, Atlanta coming at home. And if you don't win in week 3, you're going to win in week 5. Miami coming up to Carolina, they're a mess. They're probably the worst team in football right now.
I agree with
that
you.
Organization is awful. And it very well could be you guys after 5 weeks are 2-3, and that's not bad.
Yeah, I hope so, because I could absolutely see it all collapsing. I agree with your assessment about Bryce Young, though. I personally was kind of getting big into podcasting at that time and starting to do this. And I remember seeing the video for the first time of Josh McCown talking with Frank Reich and everything, and talking with CJ Stroud. And they caught them on a hot mic saying, "Oh man, we're going to have a basketball court here ready for you." I was like, yes, we got CJ Stroud. It's over. It's a lock. And then, of course, we take Bryce Young, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, fine. I can't force the team to do anything else. So, okay, let's see what happens. And man, it has never looked good at all. The one Atlanta game is the only time that this guy has ever truly made me happy to watch Carolina Panthers football, because it is bad so far. And to be honest, even with the addition of Tet, yes, he had those amazing circus catches down the end, the one-hander, the whole bit. But man, the guy throwing you the ball is not him. He can't get the ball to where it is. I even saw Dan Orlovsky post something, and he posted literally Bryce's sitting in the pocket, taking an extra step, then making sure to put his foot in the ground, do it, and literally the ball's getting to Tet so late. There are so many bad passes on a consistent basis that I'm personally like this close to being out. I know I'm vocal about it, but that's just because I think the organization doesn't care. Like, I think Tepper's just there to make a quick buck, and I can't blame him. Billionaire plus owner. I make your money. But man, it sucks sometimes, because like in the draft, Caleb Williams, I agree with you. I think if they really wanted to build, they either needed to take Jaden Daniels, who I said in the draft, I was like, man, Caleb Williams might have the higher ceiling, but Jaden Daniels will have an immediate impact on a team. And that's exactly what happened. I think that Jaden is the better player. And I think that, and I think that, to be honest, the problem with it is not just the location of where you go, but it's also what you've gone through. Like, we saw Brock Purdy go through 4 years of struggling in college, and then came into the NFL and is able to actually deal. Of course, he's in the Shanahan system, which is supposed to be easier, but he's still able to go out there and make accurate reads. Bryce Young never had to do that at a hard level. He played at Amazon. Jesus. He'll be playing there soon.
He played at the Amazon of college football, though.
No, yeah, he played at Alabama. Like, you have all 5 starting guys as NFL caliber guys. Exactly. All of your wide receivers are a track meet. One of them is in prison because he literally could not stop himself from going too fast.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
The amount of times that he threw into triple coverage, too, is astounding. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, there's 3 guys there again. There's 3 guys there again. There's 3 guys there again. Why? How? Why? Somebody else has got to be more open.
Yep, and that's the thing. At this point, and this leads perfect into this question, Metcalf or T-Mac full PPR. T-Mac is going to eat under one condition, and I'll go back to this thing. Where am I going? Panthers. And I'll pull up. We're not this Atlanta game. This Cardinals game. This Cardinals game is going to be decided. Right now, we're 6.5 point dogs already. Good Lord. I thought this would take at least a week or 2 for us to have that bad of an opening amount, but Jesus. And look at that matchup prediction.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting game for fantasy, obviously, because I think what you're going to see is a lot of T-Mac and a lot of Marvin Harrison Jr.
You're going to have to be honest with you. There is no offense right now without Teteroa. The running game can get going at times, but if you're comparing it to a guy like Metcalf, I don't like. I tell you what, I would take T-Mac. I'm going to stick with that one. I like T-Mac over Metcalf only because Metcalf and the Steelers are playing the Seahawks.
Seahawks, right? And I hate to bring up the Ravens connections here. I'm a big fan of Mike Macdonald. I think he's one of the better defensive masterminds in the NFL. Obviously they had a semi-answer, I guess, if you want to say it, to San Francisco. They didn't come out the victors there, but I do, man, I like the matchup there. I think it's more explosive. I think you're going to get more from T-Mac than you will from Metcalf in that game. That's just me, though.
I agree. And then looking at this, he got 7 targets. He's splitting those targets essentially 3 separate ways. Jonnu gets 6, Calvin gets 6, Metcalf gets 7. That means they're making an active effort for the most part to get everybody involved.
Yeah.
Like most of them are skewed, like over here, 9, 4, 2, 3. Like, okay, there's a clear number one. Here, there's no established clear number one. Yeah, Metcalf got, 4 for 7 for 83, and that's great, but I'll take 4 for 70 and a touchdown, especially in full PPR.
Right.
So, yeah, man, I got to agree with you. I have to go Tetaroa in this one, especially because for us to be competitive in this game, we're going to have to throw the heck out of that ball. I do think that Arizona has a ton of injuries. I'm like 95% confident they have like 10 people on this list. Yeah, guard, linebacker, defensive tackle, guard. They're drafted defensive tackle Walter Nolan out, another linebacker and BJ Ojulari out. They are depleted all over. So if we're going to stay competitive in that game, it's going to be because we are throwing the ball. And if that's the case, it's because of a guy like Tetaroa. So, yeah, T-Mac all the way.
Yeah.
And by the way, shout out to Flame.
Almost double-digit targets coming out of Carolina. I like that better than having to share with everyone.
I agree.
It's like saying, what tight end are you going to go with in Pittsburgh? Well, I don't know. They got Pat Freiermuth and they got Jonnu Smith. Obviously, Jonnu Smith is the better of the two at this point, but you got 2 tight ends that can do the same thing.
Exactly.
Who's your competition in Carolina if you're T-Mac? Xavier Legette's supposed to be something.
He's not.
But
he's not.
Gosh,
he can't keep
where
his
did
feet
he
down.
go? He disappeared.
I don't know, dude. Legette's one of those guys that we traded up for. That's again another draft I don't even want to have a conversation about because we passed on Keon Coleman, which you know what, he's better than Legette. But right after that, Ladd McConkey, Jackson Powers Johnson, again Peyton Wilson in the 3rd. My team just flubbed it all over. So Legette's just an example of that magnification. And speaking of Jawan Johnson, the guy we were just talking about, or Harold Fannin Jr., they had pretty much the same, really close to the same stat line. Jawan Johnson, though, there's much more competent wide receivers for the Browns. I would go Jawan Johnson. Yeah,
I would too. And we kind of explained this beforehand. I'd go Jawan Johnson because he got 11 targets. It's amazing. And he caught 8 for 76 yards. New Orleans is going to have to pass the ball. I think they pretty much always have. And with Jawan Johnson and whatever quarterback you want to stick in there, it's going to be the nice check down back. You're looking at, is Harold Fannin Jr., is he going to do the same thing that he did? It's kind of a remarkable thing that we talked about before. He had 9 targets. He caught 7 balls. He even had a rushing attempt. They're putting him out wide. They're putting him at a tight end, 2 tight end sets. So they're utilizing this guy, and I hate to say Swiss Army knife, but he kind of is that Swiss Army knife type of a deal. I don't like the matchup. Now, saying this after we just saw the Bills fillet the Ravens the other night, I think that you're going to see a much different game between the Browns and the Ravens. And I think it's going to be a much obviously lower scoring game. I think it's going to be kind of one of those old school NFC North black and blue division type of low scoring games on both sides. And I don't think there's going to be, it's going to be more of a chess game than a shootout. So I like Jawan Johnson for sure. He's the sole number 1 tight end that they're going to throw to. And who knows how long Chris Olave is going to be in that game. Maybe he takes a shot and he's out. And, that's the tricky thing. So I just don't trust it. They got a lot of weapons that Joe can throw to in Cleveland.
Of course, yeah. And then, of course, you look at the spread right now. You guys are already 12.5-point favorites. The total is 44. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, you guys will beat them by. I don't know, dude. It might be worth it to take the plus plus 10.5 they're giving right there.
I will say this. The same thing happened last year when we went into Kansas City and we got smoked, or we lost late. Same thing, right? We lost late in Kansas City, first game of the year last year. We came back home and we played Oakland. We hosted Oakland.
Yep.
Or, I'm sorry, Las Vegas. And they said, this is going to be, and I think it was probably the same thing. I think we were favored by 12 and we lost.
You guys better not lose this game. I swear to God, if you guys go down 0-2, I'm going to be so mad. So will my wife, but still.
I just look at last year and go, hey, well, we started 0-2 last year.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
But I would take the Browns in the 12.5. If you're going to give me 12.5 in the Browns, I'll take that.
I agree. Most teams don't get blown out by 12.5, so it's normally a safe bet to take that. That's why it's coming back down to earth at 10.5.
Yeah.
But this one's a perfect one. Would you hold Andrews as a Ravens fan, or would you drop him and pick up a new tight end? I think that Juwan Johnson conversation needs to happen.
I don't think you're going to get the value, to be honest with you. I think Andrews not getting a whole lot was an anomaly. The fact that Zay Flowers had such a big game last week, they're going to cover him like a blanket too. I still like Mark Andrews. He's the clear-cut number one tight end in Baltimore, which is a very high-scoring offense. Even if he only catches 3 or 4 balls, you know that they're going to go, if they're within the 5, you know that they're going to go to him, which is the one thing that didn't happen against Buffalo, right? If you watch that game, it was a lot of long runs, obviously, or long pass plays that got us into the end zone. So there weren't a lot of, hey, we're in the red zone or we're within the 5-yard line. Let's hand it off to Derrick Henry. No, he ran those out from like 40 yards plus every time. So I like Andrews only because of the fact that he's got that touchdown quality. I would take him to get a touchdown, obviously, over Juwan Johnson.
Absolutely.
He had a big game, Juwan Johnson did, and he's going to get you some points. But I sure would not drop Andrews for a new tight end, even if it was Juwan Johnson. I'd hang on to Andrews.
I agree. Oh, it looks like... Oh, I thought it was the same person. Anyways, the person from Juwan Johnson earlier just said they're first in the waiver wire. Should they go get Sampson or Johnson at tight end? JCM on bench. Kittle's out on IR. Ooh, Sampson or Johnson at tight end. I'm going to go get Johnson over Dylan Sampson. Quinshon Judkins is back.
Yeah, this is prime for me because I'm in the same boat. I've got George Kittle. I'm not quite as high on the waiver wire, so I've got a couple of different tight ends, but my first guy out there is Juwan Johnson. He's my first pick. If I get him, great. If not, then I forgot what other tight ends that I was going after in that spot. But probably I like Harold Fannin Jr. I like Noah Fant, actually. Which is a shocker. Noah Fant came out of nowhere. He's technically the tight end number 2 in Cincinnati. Nobody owns him in fantasy, but he had 4 receptions for 26 yards and a touchdown on 5 targets. Whereas Mike Gesicki, who's supposed to be the tight end number 1, had 1 reception for 14 yards and 3 targets. So keep your eyes on Noah Fant, especially in that offense, which is a very high-powered offense, as we all know. Noah Fant could emerge there, the former Seattle Seahawk and wherever else he's been. Yeah, he's another guy that you could potentially look out for, but I'd go with the other 2 first. So Juwan Johnson, number 1, if you've got George Kittle who's out, absolutely plug that hole in the dam.
Exactly, and that's where I was going with this original one. Andrews, yeah, if you have to drop Andrews for somebody else, I wouldn't go crazy. If you can somehow free up another spot, I would go and get a Juwan Johnson because, yeah, there could be weeks where Juwan Johnson's a better option than Mark Andrews.
Oh, for sure.
But you're really kind of gambling on that. Whereas Mark Andrews seems to be a very safe pick for the most part. Obviously, this one game aside, it looks like.
Yeah.
And then here's another one. Would you offer Kenneth Walker for Hampton as you already have JSN? Yeah. If they'll take that, if they'll take it, get rid of him. Bye-bye.
I don't like the and it's funny because we actually did this in our Cognoscenti League. I had both Saquon Barkley and Devontae Smith.
Yep.
And I funny situation. I paired up Devontae Smith and somebody else to get, I believe it was Mike Evans, and at the time it was Amari Cooper, who had not retired yet.
Oh.
And no, but it actually worked out because I don't draft kickers, so I needed to free up a spot. So the only reason I see it as an upgrade from Devontae Smith to Mike Evans.
I agree.
Then I was going to drop Amari Cooper anyway and get myself a kicker. So it all worked out for me. The guy that I traded with, Gilly from Saturdays at the Swamp, took that trade because his wide receiver core was crap. And so getting 2 wide receivers for me, one of which was Devonta Smith, I didn't care because I had Saquon. And I don't like the running back wide receiver stack.
Agreed.
So I agree with you 100%. Yes, I would make that trade as well to not have Kenneth Walker and JSN.
Absolutely. And to be honest, Kenneth Walker's injury prone. I don't really see that with Hampton. Hampton might be tamped down with J.K. Dobbins there, but to be honest, the upside is there, and it's much higher than Kenneth Walker. And then the next one, I'm in a 10-man league. Should I drop my second quarterback and pick up Juwan?
Who's your first quarterback?
Yeah, if your first quarterback is Brock Purdy, I would probably keep that second guy. But as long as you have a stable first quarterback, if it's a top 5, a Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar, Jaden, Hurts, any of those guys, yeah, Juwan's worth a pickup right now, especially because he's, like you said, he's not here. He's available in 50% of leagues, or more than 50% of leagues.
For sure.
And then
it really depends on who that second guy is. I mean, if you're talking, hey, I've got Bo Nix and Dak Prescott, should I drop one of them because I've got a hole at tight end? Yeah, because they're essentially the same guy right now. So if that's a situation, just flip a coin and pick one. I would stick with Bo Nix, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Bo Nix will return to form. I sincerely hope so, for my fantasy sake.
He should.
Oh, he's got May. He's got Drake May.
So
who's
the other quarterback? Drake May?
Yeah, if he's going to drop Drake May, who's your quarterback 1? And Hurts.
I think you can drop May.
Yeah, you can drop May. To be honest, there's going to be weeks where Trevor Lawrence is going to make May look pedestrian. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, we kind of had this conversation with Jalen Hurts anyway. He's going to run in some stuff. I mean, he had a huge week last week. He's going to get you points regardless. So let's put it this way. As long as Hurts is playing, you're never going to start May.
Yes.
Right? There's just not a situation there where I would say, oh, no, go ahead and start May instead of Jalen Hurts. He's always going to be the favorite to get more points. So, I think the Eagles have a bye in week 5 or 6. I think they have an early bye, so be careful of that. But yeah, absolutely drop May.
That's a great question. When is their bye? Their bye is week 9. Week 9. But I would agree with you, though. You're going to start Hurts every week. You're not going to worry about May. To be honest, you've got diminishing returns by keeping May. Yeah. Yeah, it's after the 2 New York games, so they get 2 cupcakes. I would agree with that. There's going to be guys available on the waiver wire, unless you just have a league where everybody's holding 2 and 3 quarterbacks, which even then the math doesn't make sense. There's still going to be somebody available.
Yeah.
Just don't start Bryce Young as a Panthers fan. That avoid that one, and you will do it. I would say that May would be worth it to keep, but the problem is May did not do anything crazy, dump off passes to Ramondre or Trevion, so you're not going to get high PPR value there. And to be honest, I don't see him throwing you guys to a ton of wins. He's going to mitigate the gaping issues, the interceptions or stuff that you guys had with previous quarterbacks. He's hopefully just going to bring the floor up just a little bit. He's not going to make it, 15-foot ceilings or anything like that.
He's a good game manager. That's about it.
Yeah. He's a perfect game manager. By the way, I appreciate it with that. Here's another one. Should I trade away Rashee Rice for Ricky Pearsall? It feels fair to me. My current receivers are Chase, Ridley, and Debo at flex. I'm going to ask you this, JD, and if you're still in the chat, who are your running backs? Like, who are your flexes? Because to be honest here, I would roll Chase, Debo, and not roll Ridley. Now I need to go look at the freaking Titans. I haven't looked at the Titans yet because I was waiting to talk to Mr. First Down. Shout out to him. He's one of their super fans. Let's see this. Box score. 112 for Cam Ward. Man, that's terrible. Calvin Ridley, 4 for 27 on 8 targets. I heard that they were dropping a lot of passes, though. Oh, I don't know if it's worth it because I genuinely believe that if Xavier Worthy is out, Swift and Cook is not a bad. His two running backs are Swift and Cook. I don't think that's really that bad. It could be a lot worse.
Rice or Pearsall? Let's look at my one concern is that Ridley and Chase both have a bye in week 10.
Yep.
So Rice also has a bye in week 10.
He went Cook, Allen. Perfect. That was great.
I would take Pearsall just based on the fact that you're going to short suit yourself because Pearsall's bye is in week 14.
I would say you could trade Ridley for Pearsall.
I would definitely trade Rashee Rice for Ricky Pearsall.
Really?
Yeah, I would. Only because with the rest of his team, Chase and Ridley are out week 10. So is Rashee Rice. So who are you going to play? So if you could trade Rashee Rice for Ricky Pearsall, I don't know. That makes sense to me. When's Washington's bye?
That's a great question. Bench is Tillman and Shaheed as options. Tillman's nice. Shaheed I don't necessarily love. Which bye do we need? We need the Commanders bye?
McLaurin is 12. I guess
12,
Commanders in general is 12. So, yeah, I mean, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot with Chase Ridley and Rashee Rice because they're all going to be gone on the same week. So I would take that trade just to alleviate a definite L for week 10.
Yeah, the only reason why I said I would maybe see if you could do Ridley for Pearsall is because once Rashee Rice comes back, if Worthy is actually out a long amount of time past Rashee coming back, Rashee's going to be wide receiver 1 for that team, like lock, stock, and barrel. It's going to be a wrap for that. But yeah, I agree with you. Those bye weeks, if you're going to be rolling out Cedric Tillman and stuff like that, you're going to be in an even tougher spot. I mean, Shaheed is not bad, but you need more depth and you need more guys with time off at separate weeks, not all stacked in one. So yeah, I agree with it. Make the trade or at least offer it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's a good idea too. Getting rid of somebody that's got a week 10 bye, though.
Yeah, for sure. It makes some sort of trade. Speaking of, we got one from Xavier who asked earlier, we originally did this Metcalf for T-Mac. Now he's adjusted it. It's DK for K9. Are you the DK or are you the K9? In the original one, it was DK for T-Mac. So if you're trading DK for K9, absolutely not. Oh, I offered DK and Pearsall for T-Mac and K9 in an attempt to get T-Mac. Wild? I don't know why you want Kenneth Walker. Why do you want Kenneth Walker?
Yeah,
I wouldn't go get Kenneth Walker for anything. DK Metcalf is worth keeping over Kenneth Walker, unless your running back room is just like Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, if you went with a no running back for your first 8 rounds, then sure. There's only Cook and Henderson. Oof. That's it? Just Cook and Henderson, and that's it?
If you have no other running backs, I feel concerned for you. But that's basically it. I don't hate it. I don't think it is worth it to go get K9. I would rather you go make that trade right now for Chuba Hubbard. Because whoever has him most likely is down on him after week 1.
And that offense goes for Chuba Hubbard.
Huh?
He got so many touches. Every time it looked like they were giving him the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, Chuba's going to be an interesting one. It's just that offensive line.
Go away before week 1. Well, at least you didn't start him in your flex like I did.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. DK straight up for Chuba. If they would say yes, I would take it. Who are your other wide receivers? That's my question. Because if you're giving up like a true solid flex like start, I don't know if that's worth it. Chuba's going to get a bunch of fantasy points.
Yeah, I don't see that as a bad trade, and it's funny because I'm looking at my final rankings before the season started, and I had DK at number 44 overall, and Chuba was 45 overall. And the fact that you need to have a running back, I would make that trade, because if you had to relive that situation where you chose DK instead of Chuba, and now it's like, okay, crap, now I don't have another running back. Yeah, I would do that one.
Yeah, plus you got to figure just in this game, like, okay, so he's got CD, BTJ, Pearsall, Shakir, Caleb, and Mason on the bench. Yeah, Caleb and Mason is a tough one. That Caleb Johnson was drafted way too high, clearly, in every draft, it looks like, if that first game is indicative of the future. But your wide receivers are good enough. I agree. I would make the DK for Chuba trade if they would let it happen. Like, if that dude will realistically hit yes, send it.
Yeah, and Jordan Mason, he's going to be the starter in Minnesota at some point in time. They didn't get him over from San Fran just to play behind Aaron Jones. Exactly. Whether Aaron Jones Sr. gets hurt or whether they're going to continue to split time, I like Jordan Mason. I think he's a good guy to have on your bench for now for the first maybe half of the season.
Agreed, especially depending on what exactly folds out with CMC and everything. He's going to be a massive guy getting the ball constantly, and we're not really sure he's going to hold up. That's a concern. Next one, Kincaid, Ertz, Kraft, Juwan. Who would you take? I'm not a big Kraft fan, if I'm going to be honest with you, nor Kincaid. So, but for me, it's between Juwan and Ertz. And just because of where Ertz plays, I'm going to go with Ertz. That's my first thought.
Boy.
Let's start with the one that you would just take out. Probably Juwan, right? He's probably the low guy on the totem pole right now.
He is. I think Juwan Johnson is the low guy on the totem pole. I would pick him up if it's an emergency type of a situation. But if you've got these other guys at your disposal, I'm not a Dalton Kincaid fan either. I never have been. I think I had him 1 year and he just completely crapped the bed, and I said I'm done with that guy. So Kincaid would be off for me, and Juwan would be off for me. For me, it's between Ertz and Kraft. And I don't hate Kraft because I think Green Bay is going to have to throw the ball in order to win games. I think they're probably going to test. They're going to test Jordan Love at quarterback for a little bit yet, and Ertz is surprising to me yet. I'm surprised that he's putting up the production that he still is. I like Kraft. I'd probably go Kraft and then Ertz, but if you like Ertz, I like Kraft.
I'm high on Ertz still, even though he's like 34, 35. He was tight end 7 or something last year. He was insanely high. So I really believe it. It could do something. And especially because these two are playing each other, this could mean that, wherever you go could be the right way. The one thing to take into account, though, is Kraft's team. Basically, every wide receiver's hurt. Matthew Golden, it tweaked the ankle. Dontavian Wicks is hurt. Christian Watson's on IR. Everybody's hurt. So Kraft's the only consistent guy to stay on the field. But, man, only 4 targets. Obviously, we were talking earlier about target share. Dobbs, Reed, and Kraft all kind of got around the same. But I'm personally going to go with Ertz. I'm going to keep going with him until he burns me.
Week 3 when Terry decides that he's going to play again.
Yes, if that's the case, yeah. Because here, 5 targets, he gets the most targets outside of Deebo Samuel, who had 10.
Yeah.
So, he's going to be a safety valve. I love pairing quarterbacks with tight ends. So, Zach Ertz for me, that's the way to go. But, yeah, I'm also out on Kincaid. I don't care about anything Buffalo tight end.
Nah.
Buffalo wide receiver, don't really care. Buffalo running back, I will bet on, though. James Cook, I don't care what anybody says. Whoever the running back is there, or maybe it's just his special magic, dude is a fantasy juggernaut.
Oh, yeah.
And especially if we had somebody in here earlier that paired the two of them together, him and Josh Allen. Oh, that's a way to win. That is absolutely a way to win long term. But I want to ask you, here we go. But while we do this, thoughts on Jonnu Smith while I pull this up?
Boy, I tell you what, I go back to a couple of years ago when Jonnu Smith was in Atlanta playing behind Kyle Pitts, and they were both top 10 in the NFL for receptions for tight ends. And then Miami got Jonnu Smith and they misused him and they let him go. And I thought, wow, that was really stupid. And so now he's in Pittsburgh and kind of this timeshare deal again with Pat Freiermuth. My thoughts on Jonnu. I like Jonnu. I've always liked him. I think he's a very talented tight end. I think he can block. I think he can catch. I think he's been undervalued and underused.
Agreed.
But now you're in a system, and I think I like the pairing with Aaron Rodgers more because I think Aaron Rodgers in his career has valued tight ends more. Week 1, no exception there. He utilized Jonnu Smith. I like him. So those are my thoughts on Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I didn't like him a whole lot with Miami, even though he was doing well. I'm much higher on him, especially now that Aaron Rodgers seems to have rediscovered how to play football. So, I mean, if he can consistently do that, Jonnu is going to be a top 5 tight end, especially now that Kittle's out. That really opens it up. Brock Bowers is hurt. I mean, there's some room at that high-end tight end place to really cement themselves, and Jonnu could be that guy for sure. Whether or not I believe in him all season, that's something completely separate. But if you have him and he's your tight end 1, you're in a good place for sure.
Yeah, they have a relatively easy schedule just based on how they finished last year. We talked about it this week coming up with Seattle, but then they've got at New England, they've got Minnesota, and then the bye week, and then Cleveland, Cincinnati, Green Bay. That should be a fun game. I think you'll probably see Pat Freiermuth getting squeezed out a little bit more for the younger guy, Jonnu Smith.
I agree. And we got another one. This is one that I don't get often. Benson or James Conner?
Take a look at Benson. If you can snag him, go ahead and do that this week. That would be my advice there because trade Benson. There's only 40% of fantasy leagues have this guy owned. And if you did not handcuff him to James Conner, then shame on you. You do not know what you're doing if you did not handcuff Trey Benson to James Conner. 8 rushing attempts for 69 yards. He had 1 reception for 6 yards. That compares to Conner, 12 carries, 39 yards, significantly worse. Now, Conner might be kind of demoted to the third down back eventually because he does seem to get more of the receptions, especially in the red zone. So 4 catches for 5 yards, not very efficient, but he did have the 1 reception. He had 4 targets, 4 receptions, 5 yards. So not very efficient, but you're getting your PPR points. But again, down in the red zone is where he's getting those looks. So I think Benson eventually takes over, and it's not gonna take too long for him to absolve that RB1 role in Arizona.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, again, Arizona's playing my Carolina Panthers, who have a pretty decent interior defensive line. But once you get past that, they're gone. And to be honest, I feel like Benson might be the person to start this week if you're going between the two. I don't know. James Conner could be an interesting one, but I might risk it all on Trey Benson this week.
It's a coin toss, really, between the two of them. But if you've got one, you should have the other one. I mean, if you've got Conner, if you drafted Conner and Trey Benson is still a free agent, you need to swoop him up real fast.
Agreed. Yeah, because Conner also needs to survive the season too.
He does. Yeah, and that was kind of his forte in the beginning of his career is that he didn't last very long. And then he gets up to being 29 or 30 years old, and then he plays every freaking game in Arizona.
Of course.
So it's like he found this Iron Man mentality when he got older, where everybody thought he was going to be, it's like, hey, this is just a guy that's going to get half of the carries. But his best year, I think, was his first year in Arizona when they traded him away.
I agree. He went from the cold weather to the nice, hot, dry Arizona heat, and I bet that is drying out his skin so he can survive longer.
Lots of vitamin D playing outside.
Yeah, exactly. He's always outside, never inside, doesn't have to worry about snow. But this one's an interesting one. We were kind of talking about this, but this guy was not a part of the equation. We had Ertz. We didn't have Jonnu Smith. I think it's pretty clear. It's probably Jonnu.
Yeah, I think it's eventually going to – I think it's closer. Boy, I like the fact that Ertz is the tight end 1, right? And you've got Jonnu and Pat Freiermuth that are kind of splitting that time in there. It's almost going to be like a Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely type of situation when he comes back. They've got 2 really stellar tight ends. I do like Jonnu Smith. He seems to be the guy, though. Outside of, I think, Pat Freiermuth, like I said, I think he's going to get squeezed out. So I like Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be him. Ertz is playing the Packers, so if you're going Ertz, you're really hoping it's a shootout, or you're hoping that, I guess, the Commanders' offensive line doesn't hold up very well, so he has to give those dump-off passes to a guy like Ertz. Jonnu Smith, I feel like, is going to be a bit more consistent. I feel like the way the Steelers looked in that first game, as long as it's not a lie, then the Steelers and Jonnu Smith should be able to build something nice. They're playing Seattle, so like we said, Mike Macdonald, really great coach. I liked the hire as well. I think the defense does kind of give a little bit of concern, but they're going to play a lot of 12 personnel, so Jonnu is probably going to be the receiving one on that with Freiermuth blocking. So, yeah, I agree. It's Jonnu all day, especially in full PPR. If Ertz didn't have this explosion of Deebo Samuel to deal with or Terry McLaurin stinking it up, I think that it wouldn't even be close. But the fact that McLaurin is struggling just like he does normally in the first two games gives Ertz a little bit of option to sneak in there, basically.
Yeah, and I tell you what, just looking at the over/under, you kind of mentioned that before. The Packers game is a 48.5 over/under, so they are predicting that one to be a little bit more of a shootout. Versus you've got Jonnu Smith going up against Seattle. Again, we mentioned Mike Macdonald before, the defensive mindset there. Over/under on that game is only 40.5. So you're looking at a little bit more scoring is anticipated with that Green Bay and Washington matchup. So I think with Jonnu Smith and Ertz, it's almost like it depends on who they're playing. I see them as very equal individuals, but maybe Ertz is the guy this week and Jonnu Smith is the guy next week. It's tough.
I agree. And I figured we're going to bring this closer to the end. I got Isaac and them getting ready to come on, and once they go on, it'll kick me off. So I'm just going to we'll cut it off nice and easy.
Sounds good.
But what I want to do is I want to give you the floor. It's going to be all for you. I want you to tell everybody where they can find you. Oh, Jesus. Nope, not me. Oh, not me. Sorry, I got to switch cameras back. Boom. Let's go to me, and then we will put you back on. I want you to tell everybody where to find you. I really appreciate you coming out tonight. I am so excited for this Raven season. I'm so excited for everything. But, yeah, I want to give you the floor, man. You deserve it. Please tell everybody where they can find you.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate that, man. Downfield Read, I've been around for, a year and a half now. Just something that I started up on my own a little while ago, and I got to make a lot of really great connections. You being one of them, of course, with the content that you put out there. Sean Petnani is usually with me. He used to write for a couple of different places, Total Apex and Yardbarker, and he's getting his stuff together. And so you want to find me, I'm on X most of the time. Sometimes it's humorous commentary. Sometimes it's what the F kind of a thing. But really it's revolved around more fantasy football stuff, but just NFL content in general. So I love doing this fantasy football type of thing, and we'll get into doing more shows. This show is great. We get to do a Tuesday night one, and I'll try to be on here as much as I possibly can. Talk about the waiver wires and stuff like that. And then, maybe we talk about who your starts and sits are when we get closer to the weekend or after Thursday night.
Exactly.
Yeah, follow me. I'm on Facebook. I don't do a whole lot there, but you can definitely find me there. I've got a YouTube channel, Downfield Read, X, Instagram. So yeah, we're doing a lot of good things. You and I, together with 10 other guys, we put together the Cognoscenti League, which is basically a league of all fantasy football experts, and we'll kind of give you some updates there as we get going down the season and get into some more bragging rights. But yeah, it's football content from guys who know football and fantasy football. So there you go.
Dude, I just sincerely appreciate you. I was hitting my roll coverage on the side. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for it. The Cognoscenti League is absolutely a ball. I love everybody's team. I suffered the first week, but week 2, I'm coming back with a vengeance. Yeah, there you go. Good shirt.
Get it in there a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. We'll see who gets the ring, and we get the bragging rights with that as well. But yeah, Nick, it was such a pleasure to find you and have somebody that's as invested, that's as enamored, that's as informative. You've got your favorite team with the Panthers. I've got mine with the Ravens, and Sean has his with the Steelers, which always makes it interesting when we get to do our stuff together. But yeah, everybody's got their little niche, and I was so happy that you were able to get on with the Cognoscenti League and make this happen. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. And again, I appreciate the invite. But yeah, I figure we'll just make it nice and easy. Hopefully, we will see you again soon.
Absolutely.
I said, I'm doing this every Tuesday, just at this time, just kind of relaxing. I also contribute to Blitz Sports Media, so I was already writing their article. I figured we might as well just sit here and talk some football. But I'm hoping to add maybe another one down the road. So maybe if you're ever available, if I ever add it, of course, I want you to be involved, man.
Hit me up, brother. I'm there for you.
Heck yeah, dude. Everybody else, though, have a great rest of the night. Enjoy it. Hopefully you guys get your waiver wire, picks in and everything. And hopefully you guys make sure to set your lineup. I've got 100 lineups to set now. So it's going to be a long night. I'll see you guys soon, though.
Thanks, guys.
Of course. See ya.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, bud.